Let's talk in British English. Liam, a keen learner, often found himself adrift in the sea of spoken English. He'd meticulously studied grammar, devoured vocabulary lists, yet British conversations zipped past him like bullet trains. Understanding Listen English felt like decoding an alien language, leaving him frustrated and feeling utterly inadequate in every interaction he attempted. He yearned for clarity. The rapid-fire delivery of native speakers, combined with their delightful array of regional accents, initially proved a formidable barrier. He'd catch a word here and there, but the overall meaning of how people speak English conversations remained elusive, a jumbled mess of sounds. It was a proper puzzle, one he felt ill-equipped to solve. Despite his diligent efforts in classrooms, poring over textbooks, and memorizing rules, authentic dialogues always felt like a different beast entirely. Liam knew the theory, but the practical application of how to learn English in real time seemed insurmountable. His confidence dwindled with each missed joke and misunderstood instruction, a truly disheartening experience. He realized relying solely on traditional methods wasn't working, a paradigm shift was urgently needed. Liam decided to immerse himself, to find the best way to learn English, by directly engaging with the language as it's truly used. This meant venturing far beyond the confines of his academic study, embracing natural linguistic environments. His journey began with podcasts, specifically British ones, covering various everyday topics. He started with shows about history, then switched to comedy, forcing himself to listen English actively. It wasn't about understanding every single word at first, but rather grasping the overall gist, the rhythm, and the natural flow of spoken communication. Initially, it was a struggle to grasp the nuances of how people speak English, the rapid contractions and idiomatic expressions catching him off guard. He often rewound sections, listening repeatedly to discern words, gradually training his ear to the unique sounds. Patience became his greatest ally during these early, often frustrating, listening sessions. He then ventured into British drama series, complete with their delightful array of regional accents and authentic dialogue. From gritty crime shows to cozy village mysteries, Liam absorbed the language. He embraced the challenge, understanding that true, listen English mastery came from diverse exposure to authentic linguistic settings and varied voices. The sheer joy of finally understanding colloquialisms and slang terms was exhilarating. He started to pick up on the subtle humor, the sarcasm, and the understated wit prevalent in British conversations. Getting the jokes, finally, felt like a monumental achievement, connecting him more deeply to how people speak English naturally. This constant, immersive exposure was truly transformative, revealing a more effective, how to learn English pathway. His passive vocabulary began to activate, and familiar phrases started making sense in new contexts. The more he listened, the more his brain seemed to rewire itself, making connections effortlessly and spontaneously. Yet, Liam soon realized that listening alone, while incredibly powerful, wasn't the complete picture for comprehensive mastery. Something was still missing in his journey towards fluent communication. He could understand, but producing coherent, confident English remained a significant, looming hurdle that he still needed to overcome effectively. His perceptive British tutor, noticing this gap, gently suggested reading, profoundly emphasizing why reading is important for language acquisition. She explained how it complements listening, providing a structured, visual pathway to linguistic understanding. Liam was initially skeptical, but he trusted her seasoned guidance implicitly. Liam hesitated, thinking reading would be a tedious, solitary activity, preferring the dynamic engagement of active listening. He associated it with dull textbooks and arduous grammar exercises. However, his tutor insisted that English story reading offered a unique, immersive experience, quite different from formal academic texts he was used to. But he decided to give it a proper go, starting with short stories by contemporary British authors. He opted for genres he enjoyed, like detective fiction and light-hearted comedies, making the process much more engaging. This strategic choice transformed reading from a chore into a genuinely enjoyable pastime, full of surprises. He quickly discovered that reading wasn't merely about comprehending words on a page, it was a profound immersion into the language's very structure. It allowed him to observe grammar naturally, seeing how sentences were constructed in authentic, meaningful contexts. This passive absorption was incredibly powerful for understanding the language. Reading provided a quiet, reflective space to process language at his own pace, unlike the relentless speed of spoken conversations. He could pause, reread, and ponder meanings without feeling pressured. This slower absorption solidified his understanding of sentence patterns and complex structures, an invaluable part of his How to Learn English journey. He noticed how complex sentences were elegantly constructed, how various tenses flowed seamlessly, and how punctuation guided meaning. This detailed observation significantly improved his own writing skills, making his expressions more sophisticated and accurate. The subtle art of British phrasing gradually became clearer and more intuitive. The vocabulary expansion was exponential, new words and phrases seemed to jump out at him from every page. He encountered words in diverse contexts, allowing him to grasp their subtle shades of meaning. This organic acquisition was far more effective than rote memorization, truly enhancing his how to remember words strategy. He learned how to remember words effectively by seeing them repeatedly in varied, meaningful contexts within the narrative. The story provided a rich tapestry of associations, helping him to recall words more easily. This active engagement with the text proved incredibly powerful for long-term retention and fluent recall. Contextual learning became his favorite and most effective method for long-term word retention. Instead of isolated flashcards, he'd remember words by associating them with the characters, plots, or descriptive passages where he first encountered them. This narrative link made recalling vocabulary almost effortless and enjoyable. He started carrying a small notebook, jotting down not just single words, but entire useful phrases and idiomatic expressions he encountered. This practice forced him to engage more deeply with the text, thinking about how words combine naturally. It was a tangible way to apply his how to remember words approach. Reviewing these contextualized phrases regularly, often during his commute or before bed, solidified his growing active vocabulary. He would try to use them in imaginary conversations, mentally rehearsing their application. This active recall method significantly boosted his confidence in both understanding and using new expressions. Reading also introduced him to the vast spectrum of British English styles, from the formal eloquence of classic literature to the colloquial charm of contemporary dialogue. This diverse exposure helped him appreciate the richness and adaptability of how people speak English in different social contexts and settings. This deep dive into written English beautifully connected his listening comprehension to a more profound understanding of the language's structure. He began to see patterns, linking spoken phrases to their written forms, which reinforced his overall learning. It was like pieces of a grand puzzle finally fitting together seamlessly. The combination of consistent listening and extensive reading truly proved to be the best way to learn English for Liam. These two pillars provided a solid foundation, building his receptive skills immensely. He felt his passive understanding of the language grow stronger with each passing day and every new text. Still, speaking remained the final, most daunting hurdle, a personal Everest he had yet to conquer. He knew the words, understood the grammar, but a profound fear of making mistakes often choked his voice. The transition from internal knowledge to external expression felt terrifying and overwhelming at times. His supportive tutor, understanding his apprehension, gently pushed him, reiterating that, how make confidence in speaking always start small. She encouraged him to embrace imperfections and view every misstep as a valuable learning opportunity, rather than a failure to be avoided at all costs. Liam began by speaking to himself, rehearsing entire conversations and monologues in the privacy of his room. He imagined various scenarios, from ordering coffee to debating current affairs, focusing on fluidity. This solitary practice allowed him to experiment with phrasing without the pressure of an audience, gradually building comfort. He even recorded his voice using his phone, listening back initially with a cringe, then with a critical ear. This self-assessment helped him identify areas for pronunciation improvement and natural intonation. The progress, though slow at first, was undeniable and incredibly motivating for his, how make confidence in speaking. Joining an online British English conversation group, though initially terrifying, marked a significant turning point. His palms would sweat, his heart would pound, just before logging on. The thought of engaging with native speakers, live, felt incredibly daunting, yet he knew it was necessary for progress. His first few attempts in the group were indeed awkward, filled with long, hesitant pauses and fumbling for words. He stumbled over simple sentences, feeling embarrassed and self-conscious about his pronunciation. Yet, he persevered, reminding himself of his ultimate goal of fluent communication. But crucially, the other group members were incredibly supportive, patient, and remarkably encouraging. They offered gentle corrections, shared their own learning experiences, and created a non-judgmental atmosphere. This camaraderie made all the difference, transforming a daunting task into a genuinely positive experience for him. He quickly realized that making mistakes was an entirely normal and indeed essential part of the language learning process. Everyone made them, even native speakers occasionally. This realization liberated him from the fear of imperfection, allowing him to speak more freely and spontaneously in conversations. Each small conversation he managed to navigate successfully, no matter how brief, significantly boosted his, how make confidence in speaking. He felt a surge of accomplishment with every new phrase he articulated clearly. These cumulative small wins propelled him forward with renewed determination and optimism. Gradually, he started initiating discussions, confidently asking questions, and even attempting to tell jokes, often with a self-deprecating British twist. The fear began to recede, replaced by a genuine eagerness to participate and connect. He started enjoying the spontaneity of real-time interactions immensely. The immense joy of being understood, of truly connecting with others in English, was an unparalleled feeling. It was a tangible reward for all his hard work and persistence. He felt a profound sense of belonging and accomplishment, bridging cultural gaps through shared language. He even began to dream in English, a strange but utterly exciting milestone in his linguistic journey. The subconscious processing of the language during sleep indicated a deeper level of fluency and integration. It was proof his brain was truly rewiring itself for British English. Liam understood more than ever why you must read English was vital for cementing his hard-won fluency. It wasn't just about learning new words, but about reinforcing grammar patterns and understanding cultural nuances. Reading provided a constant source of mental stimulation and linguistic reinforcement. Reading widely expanded his world, providing him with an endless supply of fascinating topics for conversations. He could discuss current affairs, historical events, or fictional plots with genuine interest. This rich source material made his spoken English much more engaging and articulate. It gave him invaluable cultural insights, enabling him to grasp British humor and social conventions with greater ease. He learned about everything from quirky traditions to the subtle art of understatement, making him feel more at home in British society. His understanding deepened profoundly. He discovered the enduring appeal of classic British literature, finding immense pleasure in the works of Dickens, Austen, and Christie. Their intricate plots and rich language captivated him completely. This newfound appreciation for literary masterpieces became a source of great personal joy. English story reading became not just a formidable learning tool, but a cherished personal hobby, a source of profound enjoyment. He eagerly anticipated curling up with a new book, getting lost in its pages. It was no longer a chore, but a delightful escape. From the intricate mysteries of Agatha Christie to the thrilling narratives of modern British authors, his reading list grew exponentially. Each book was a new adventure, a fresh opportunity to encounter vocabulary and immerse himself in British storytelling. His literary world expanded wonderfully. Every new novel exposed him to a new set of vocabulary, idioms, and unique turns of phrase specific to different genres and eras. He started recognizing authors' distinctive styles and voices. This continuous linguistic exposure enriched his understanding immensely. He learned fascinating details about British history, its complex societal structures, and its wonderfully peculiar customs. Reading provided a rich tapestry of cultural knowledge that made the language truly come alive. It was like having a personal guide to understanding Britain. The integrated, holistic approach truly was the best way to learn English he could have possibly imagined. It wasn't about mastering one skill in isolation, but about weaving them all together seamlessly for comprehensive language development and profound understanding. It involved daily, active listen English to podcasts, news, and dramas, tuning his ear to authentic speech patterns. This consistent auditory input was fundamental for internalizing the natural rhythm and intonation of the language. It built his receptive fluency. It meant reading widely, from contemporary novels to non-fiction articles, enriching his vocabulary and solidifying grammatical structures. Why you must read English became obvious as his grasp of complex syntax improved dramatically. Reading fueled his conversations. It involved constantly practicing how to make confidence in speaking, starting small and gradually pushing his boundaries in real conversations. Overcoming his shyness became a triumph in itself, proving that consistent effort truly pays off. He spoke with increasing ease. And it meant consciously applying how to remember word strategies, like contextual learning and regular review, to build a robust, active vocabulary. He actively engaged with new terminology, making it his own. His word recall became swift and accurate during discussions. His initial struggle and sense of inadequacy had transformed into genuine passion and impressive proficiency. Liam could now navigate complex conversations with ease, expressing himself articulately. He felt a profound sense of accomplishment and liberation through language. He could confidently engage in any "listen English" scenario, whether it was a casual chat at a pub or a formal business meeting. The fear of misunderstanding had vanished, replaced by an eagerness to participate. His comprehension was sharp and reliable. His speech flowed naturally, mirroring how people speak English in its authentic, nuanced delivery. He used idioms correctly, understood sarcasm, and effortlessly participated in witty banter. The language felt like an extension of himself, truly fluid. Liam realized that learning English wasn't a finite destination but a continuous, enjoyable journey of discovery and growth. Every day offered new linguistic insights and opportunities for deeper connection. He embraced the ongoing learning process with enthusiasm. And it all began with that first brave step, deciding to change his approach, to immerse himself fully, and to just try again, no matter how daunting it seemed. His determination ultimately paved the way for remarkable linguistic success. Now, he often recommends his integrated method to others, confidently explaining the best way to learn English. He shares his story, hoping to inspire fellow learners to embrace listening, reading, and speaking as interconnected pathways to true fluency and enjoyment.